a video on macerating these blackcurrants. So, a couple of years ago, I tried having a go at making homemade Ribena. It wasn't a success. It wasn't a failure, because it was a learning experience, but it wasn't particularly a great success. So, I've had these blackcurrants in the freezer for 2 years. So I kind of thought it was probably about time we did something with them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to macerate them. I'm going to see what happens. So macerating is when we add sugar to something and allow the sugar to draw out the excess moisture from the fruit. So I've done it with strawberries, done it with lots of different things. I think it'll be a good thing to do with these black currants. I wanted to say red currants because they've got a really high pectin content, so it makes things want to go really jellified, which is not what you want in a cordial. So I think by macerating them, well, they've been frozen and then macerating them, I think we might be able to extract the juice out of them and hopefully not the pectin. So there's about 1 kilo in there, so we're going to put in 1 kilo of sugar, just plain granulated sugar. So put some in and we'll give it a shaky just so the sugar starts to drop down to the bottom of the and shake all the because some of they're still a little bit frozen, but I'm not bothered about that. And then we'll put the rest of the sugar in on top, and then shake a bit more, and then what will happen is the sugar, well, some of the juice will want to come out of the blackcurrants because they're frozen, and that's what happens. The freezing process breaks down the cell walls of the fruit and then wants to extract the liquid. So freezing it will do that anyway, but the sugar will also extract out some of that liquid as well. So it probably take about 4-5 days in the fridge. I'm just going to put a bit of plastic on top. When we're dealing with sugar and acid fruits, lids aren't particularly a very good idea because they're made of metal, and we don't want any kind of corrosion or anything kind of tainting that. So put it in the fridge and we'll leave it for 3 days and then we'll see what it looks like. Right, blackcurrants. It's been more like 2 weeks than a week because I've got busy and done other things. Not particularly busy with work, but been faffing around with lots of other things. So we've got syrup. We've also got lots of sugar on top, so that was probably too much sugar, but we have got syrup underneath. So what we're going to do with this, what are we going to do with this? Let's have a think about it. So let's get a syrup and let's get that sugar off the top, and we might be able to get some of that juice to come out of that sugar. So this is probably why I've left it for longer than I should have, because I was thinking what I should do with it. So let's get that sugar off there, and then the juice might run out of the sugar. Maybe. Because we don't want the syrup to be too sweet. I don't know. I was thinking about this. I was thinking, like with the pectin, so I made some hawthorn fruit leather, and it's really high in pectin. Is hawthorn, and it naturally starts to set quite without any heat. You just kind of squish them up, and it wants to turn into a jelly without kind of setting. So I was kind of thinking that we don't need to cook the pectin for it to start setting up. So that was a little bit of a concern. Oh, I'll pause. I just need to go and get a container. Right, I've got a better container. So yeah, so it doesn't need heat for the pectin to start working. So I was slightly concerned that maybe this is the same with the. I think there's a lot of pectin in blackcurrants as well. So that's nice. That's really nice. So we'll just have to. They're going to be sacrificial lambs of these. I don't want it too sweet. I like to be able to control how sweet something is. So if we scrape off the undissolved sugar from the top, it's not going to be too sweet. We'll lose some berries, but that can't be helped. So pour this into here. See what happens. Okay. Just had a thought. So maybe we could. Once we've drained any kind of. See, there's some juice coming out of that. There's a juice coming out of that. Maybe we can recombine these berries with. Once it's drained, maybe we can recombine those berries with that sugar, and then put it back in the fridge and see if it see if we can get any more juice out that way. Maybe. Let's have a. I don't know why I've just got another spoon out to make more washing up. So we're getting quite a lot of juice coming out of there. Leave that spoon in there. These are why my videos are too long. There's some thinking my way through things as I go. I'm sure the information will be out for all things that I want to do and faff around with in the kitchen and with food. There must be the answers out there. Someone must know the answers to my questions. But I can never find the answers to the questions that I want to ask. So this is why I end up faffing around, talking my way through videos and answering my questions myself. So we've got some nice juice coming through. How can we taste that? How can we taste that without it making a mess? There's not a lot of juice. Look at that. That's a cracking colour, is that, isn't it? That's delicious. That's delicious, is that? There's just not a lot of juice that's come out. So, but we're still getting juice coming out of that. Is it gonna? No, I don't think it's gonna. I think if we heated it, it would activate the pectin, and then we'd end up with a blackcurrant jelly. So in the UK, what people in the US call jelly, that's what we call jam, and what we call jelly is a clear jam-like substance, like clear all the way through, bright and shiny and clear, and tends to be more savoury than a jam. So a jam is sweet, a jelly is savoury. So I think if we heated that juice that's under there, I think that would turn into a jelly, which is not what I want. I want to make a cordial. So let's leave that to drain, and I'll have a think. I'm going to go swimming, and we'll have a think. Maybe rinsing the fruit in a little bit of water to kind of get some of the juice out of it. But it's still draining through, so maybe we'll leave it for a couple of hours and then we'll see what happens after that. Won't do anything else with it. and then maybe take the fruit and combine it with that sugar and see if we can get a bit more juice out of it. But now there's still a bit of juice left in there. Maybe squeeze it. Maybe puree it. I don't know. I'll have a think. But the juice under there is delicious. What's the juice under here like? I think this will be delicious as well. We don't have to. They're both delicious. But that's not a lot of juice for the amount of sugar and for the amount of red currant. I don't want to heat it though. I'll have a think. I'll re-watch the other video as well, and then we can have a see about what happened. But anyway, lots to think about, and that's probably why I put off doing it for an extra week and just left it in the fridge, because I knew it was going to be like this and a little bit too complicated. Well, not complicated, but I'd have to think my way through it, and I had other things to think about this week. Far too many other videos that I wanted to think my way through as well, and I didn't want to give myself another something to think about, and completely plug my brain up. But anyway, we'll let those drain for a bit, and then we'll see what happens. Right, I think I've decided what I'm going to do with these. So, we've got some juice that's come out of this, out of those two things there. So all that juice is going to go in there, and at some stage we'll give that a taste. But it is delicious. So that's sugar in the bottom of there. So what was I going to do? I'm going to do half that sugar. Take half that sugar out of there and dump that in there. Try not to make a mess of everything. And then I'm going to take half these that's about half. I'm going to mix those up and see what happens. See if we can get any more moist. See if that sugar will extract out any more of that liquid from those, like that, and then a bit more. Oh, I'm tight. So that's that one. I'm going to put that in a glass container, and we'll leave that for a few days and see what happens. And then this one, put that on there for a minute, and put that in there. Excuse fingers. And these ones I'm going to puree up, and then we might add the sugar to them. Maybe. I'm just curious. I'm just faffing around with this bit. So we'll just puree these and see what happens. Right, so just blackcurrant jam. So I'm going to mix that with the sugar. I think so, yes. That's not going to want to come off there. So let's mix that with this amount of sugar. Put it into another container and see what happens to that. So I'm just trying to avoid the pectin setting it like a jam stroke jelly. Oh yeah, when I said about jellies in the UK are normally savoury. That's not all jellies, because there is like a dessert which is set with gelatin, which is sweet, and that's also jelly. So that just confuses things, doesn't it? Right, so those two things are going to go in a jar, and we'll leave them for a few days in the fridge and then we'll see if any more liquid comes out of those berries, and we'll be back in a few days. But that's delicious. So that's certainly cordial, and we'll be able to make cordial out of that. But we'll see. We'll do a tasting when we've had these in jars for a few days. Right. So the blackberries have been mixed into the sugar for a few days. How many days? 4, 5, something like that. So let's have a look at them, see if we can extract any more juice. So these are the ones that were just mixed into the sugar. We might be able to get. No, the sugar's not melted. Well, we might be able to. We might be able to get something out of that. Let's see if we can. Let's just pause and I'll get something to pour it into. Right, so we've got a sieve over a container. Let's just. I think if anything does come out, I think it'll be liquid that's got sugar in it. So like sugary, crystally liquid. I'll put that on there. I have to wash those anyway. So let's just have that draining while we have a look at the others. There's a little bit of juice. But do you know, I think just the problem is if we were to heat that juice to dissolve the crystals, the amount of pectin that's in blackcurrants would just turn it into jelly. Oh, a jam straight away. So we'll leave that on there. We'll get on the spoon, down the washing up, eh? And this is the one that we pureed. So that's gone like a consistency of a jam. So there's that much pectin in blackcurrants that you don't even need to heat it. You just need to mix them into sugar, or pure them into sugar, and it forms like an uncooked jam. I mean, it just tastes like blackcurrant jam. That's rather delicious, isn't that? That's rather delicious. So that's interesting, isn't it? That's interesting, and it's the same with the things like hawthorn berries. There's so much pectin in hawthorn berries that they just automatically want to set up, and so it must be the same with blackcurrants, not blackberries, blackcurrants. So this is the juice that kind of came out of it. So this is what I really wanted to make. I wanted to make a cordial, but it seems like it's the amount of pectin that's in the blackcurrants is stopping from me making like a free running cordial. I don't know, there must be something that stops pectin from working. There must be, or a way of extracting the blackcurrant flavour without the pectin. So that's kind of like a cordial. Now the only problem with that is there'll be pectin in that, and if we heat it, it'll turn into a jelly. So that's no use either. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Let's just. I haven't got anything fizzy, but let's just add a bit of water to that. What have we got? Should have got something prepared, shouldn't I? As always. So. Not that much for the cordial. And a little bit of water. So that's a nice colour. Like that. That's delicious. Oh, that's good. That's so good. That's much nicer than Ribena. So the only problem with that is that's not sterile, and we can't heat it because it's going to turn it into jam because of the pectin. So it's going to be a case of eat it quick or drink it quick, otherwise it'll turn into a it'll start to ferment, so it's going to have to be refrigerated. But you know, fermenting something like that and turning it into a fizzy drink, interesting all the same. I've got something on the back of the stove, so I'm just keeping an eye on it. I'm making some yogurt, so I've got some milk on the back of the stove. I don't want it to boil over. So that's that. I think that's kind of like, that's it for this experiment. Unless I have some radical brainwave about making or some kind of breakthrough about how a blackcurrant cordial is made without turning it into a jam. I just don't know. However, we've learnt something interesting, haven't we? We've learnt that we can make a drink, we just can't heat it, and we know that there's that much pectin in blackcurrants that it instantly forms a jam. If you puree the blackcurrants down with sugar, it turns into a jam like that. I mean, that is the consistency of jam. So we have learnt some things. We've learnt that we can't do it, which is not so good, but we have learnt something interesting, which knowledge is good. So, and I've made something delicious, and now I can take all these bits of blackcurrants and we can cook them, add some more sugar, and put them through a sieve, and we can make a blackcurrant jam. Now, if I'd have been a little bit more fastidious and picked out all the stalks, but I couldn't be bothered, we wouldn't have to strain it. But that just means I'll push it through a sieve, and we'll strain it and heat it and turn it into a blackcurrant jam, which you don't know. I'm not going to make a video on blackcurrant jam, or have it as part of this video. But anyway, so I think that's a success. I'm quite happy with that result, so I'm going to put that in a bottle, and I'm going to in a sterilised bottle. No, I can't put it in a hot sterilised bottle, can I? I have to just put it into a sterilised bottle. Otherwise, the heat from the bottle might even want to turn it into a jam. So, but anyway, I'm happy. That's a success, and I got to faff around. There is some juice that comes out of that. It's got a little bit of sugar in it, but we'll add that to the cordial. I don't think it will crystallise, because I think the acidity of the blackcurrants will stop it from crystallising any further than that. But that can be added to the, we'll just move that around, but that can be added to the cordial, and then we'll get a little bit more cordial that way. But we'll turn the rest of that into jam. And then this was stuff that I just used as a just to rinse things out. So this was just a little bit of liquid. So how's this taste? That's all right. We might be able to add that to bulk up the kind of cordial. So take that and that syrup in there, and then add it to the cordial, and get like a larger amount of cordial. And then all the rest of the stuff will just turn into jam. There we go. It's definitely the end of the video.